What would make this an especially useful conversation for you today?
So, there's a couple different things. First of all, probably talking about like the application process would be, and the digital LSAT, that would be useful for me. And also, I'm just kind of in like a zone where I can't get out of a certain like score. Like I'm not reaching above it, and I've been like in that range, and it's just worrying me because I took the LSAT once already. So when I was studying for it the first time, I was getting like in the like 159 to 165 range. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. So I'm kind of like, I don't know if I have no idea if I'm going to do better or not. I kind of don't know how to break out of that because every time I can't even like, I don't know what my problem zone is because every time I take a practice test, it seems like just a random section will be off and it doesn't really matter what it is. It's not like I'm like strong in LR and like completely not strong in games. It's like sometimes I can get a full game section like only two wrong and like sometimes it's just bad.
Yeah, I
So
hear where you're coming from, and that's totally normal. So when are you taking the LSAT, Alyssa?
I'm taking it I'm taking November, so a couple of weeks.
Okay. So sometimes variation in results can be because one exam has a harder reading comp section than another exam. The exams as a whole are equated, but games could be easy on one, hard on another. Same goes for any of the sections. And also the order in
Yeah.
which they appear could have an impact on you as well. How many full length exams have you taken up to this point?
Probably about 15 to 20. Uh, Probably closer to 20.
Fantastic. That's amazing. And those were strictly timed 5 section exams?
They were they were strictly timed, but I've been taking mostly four section because I have the books that only have the four section ones. So I've been taking them four section, which I know I have your schedule and it does say to take five, but I just found it to be hard to do that just because I didn't want to take a section out of a full exam to use as my fifth. So I kind of didn't know how to do that.
All right, well, here's how you could do it. I know that there's only a few weeks left until November, of course, but
Yeah.
you do want to do at least a few 5 section exams because that's what you're going to be doing on test day, and the endurance is different, of course.
Yeah.
So let's say you wanted to do exam number 88. You could take a section from exam 83, let's say, take exam 83, cut it into 4 parts, and insert each one of those 4 parts in the following 4 exams you could do. So you could do a section from 83 in exams 85, 86, 87, and 88. And later you tally your results for 83 to see what it would have been.
Oh yeah.
So just cut it in 4, and your next 4 exams are taken care of.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. That would make sense. Do you know if there's also, this is kind of random, but do you know if there's a way to buy or like get access to the digital LSAT exams that are not just the ones that they have for you on the LSAC page, like that you can practice taking the digital exam?
Unfortunately, LSAC has only released those 3 in the
Oh,
digital
okay.
format. I expect they'll be releasing more in the future. But for now, you could, if you have the PDFs, you could load them onto your computer screen or your tablet and just do your work on scratch paper to the side. And of course, that's not a perfect imitation, but it's pretty
Yeah.
much the best that's available right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have a tablet? Have you
Yeah. So
practiced with one?
yeah, I did. Well, I kind of screwed up because I took one that I never took before, that the one of the three that they have, but then the other two I had already done like on paper. So it kind of wasn't that useful, but I did familiarize myself with it a little bit.
And that's really all you need to do. The benefit of the familiarization tool is just to see what it's like, to
Yeah.
see what it's like to bubble in choices with one tap, or to flag choices, to flag questions, or to eliminate answer choices, or to use the highlighting and underlining tools, which I don't recommend, by the way, because they don't work that well. So that you can also get exposure to that too. And
Yeah.
also just using your scratch paper booklet to the side. That's really the biggest adjustment, one of the biggest adjustments, I think.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the tools didn't I didn't really use them because they were kind of glitching, but I thought it might have just been my tablet. Um
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's all the tablets pretty much. And so expect that when you walk in as well, that the stylus might not work properly, the tools might not work properly on the tablet. There could be tech issues potentially that delay things a little bit. And I wouldn't expect that. And I think it'll get better with time. I think that November will be better than October and so on. But
Right.
be prepared that things might not go smoothly and just be ready for that. So you're not totally taken by surprise and thrown off.
Right. So also, what do you have any suggestions for like just in general timing? Like I've been, because timing is obviously that's like one of the hardest obstacles in the LSAT, and I've been trying to do different techniques like with reading. I haven't been really underlining much. Or like writing on anything. I just read the passage like closely, but trying to like go a little like basically just like not trying to get as much detail as I would with reading. And then also with LR, I'm just like stuck between trying to get like sticking on. I don't know when to move on from a question basically. And sometimes I'll have like a full 5 questions left, which is obviously not ideal.
Yeah. And so getting bogged down is a real issue that students face. And it just requires a certain degree of like self-control and focus to recognize when it's happening so that you can let go of that question. Everything is worth the same, although not all questions are of equal difficulty. So it's worth recognizing when, after a couple of minutes, if you're not making any headway, make this one of the questions that you flag, skip, and hope to come back to later. Personally, I'll flag 3 to 4 questions in a single logical reasoning section because I just don't want to deal with them in the moment. And I trust there may be other questions later in the section that could be a little bit easier for me. So a parallel question or principal application, which are often more time consuming, those are good candidates to skip.
Yeah. I definitely need to practice that while I'm doing it, because I know that that's what I need to do. But sometimes I'm just like, no, I need to get this. Like something just hasn't stuck out to me yet. And then I just thinks my time completely.
Yeah, so make those a few of the questions that you flag and recognize that they're going to happen so that you can deal with it.
Yeah. And for reading comp, like, is there anything that I could do there that you found helps you with that?
Well, you're already taking fewer notes, which is good. I'd keep it very minimal, just summarizing the author's primary opinion, the main idea, summarizing that in a couple of words on the scratch paper to the side. And if there are a couple of viewpoints, you might write a few words summarizing each of those, but I would leave it at that.
Yeah. So it's so weird with reading comprehension because sometimes I'm like I feel like I'm so on it and I flow through the questions like easily, and sometimes it's just like really, really bad, not good timing at all, and I just like can't get my focus to match the question. But I guess that's like always going to happen.
Yeah, it's normal, but there are a couple of things you can do. One of them would be to try and caricature or exaggerate the different viewpoints in the passage to make them a little more interesting, maybe, and also a little bit simpler. So I'll think about it as if I were explaining it to a 5-year-old or 7-year-old and saying, like, this is good and bad, or old versus new, or incomplete versus relatively more complete, something like that.
Yeah. Right. And then also for applications, I actually did shoot you an email about this, but since I'm taking in November, I know I can't really, well, I could submit them, but I'm not going to be considered until the score comes back, right?
Right, yeah.
So do you recommend I just submit them all as soon as possible and then have that, like they're going to wait no matter what if they see I'm taking another LSAT?
Do you already have an LSAT score on record?
Yeah.
From how long ago?
But I know from experience that if you're signed up for another LSAT, even if you have a score on record, they wait until that score comes back.
They may. Yeah, they may. It's a little bit unclear though. I've heard different things. It could vary. So I would suggest that you have everything ready, but don't actually hit submit until you get your score back.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, just to be safe, I guess that would be the best.
Just because, admission offices, they're handling hundreds or thousands of applications, of course, and
yeah,
they could accidentally consider it too early with your previous score, not with the newer and presumably higher score.
Yeah, right. I hope higher.
Yeah.
We'll see. I've heard that there's like a technique that you can like choose which one that you want to do basically on like what's the easiest. Do you think that that's something that students should consider, like looking through the easiest one that you can get through, or the one with the most questions?
I would generally recommend simply doing them in the order given. It's not
Yeah.
always easy to tell up front what's going to be an easy game and what's going to be a hard game. And the harder
Yeah.
ones usually are later in the section anyway. So I would just, for games and reading comp both, I would typically just do them in the order given.
Okay. This just came to my head. So I don't know how much time we have left.
Yeah, sure, shoot.
Okay. So you sent an email. I've done so much like studying on just trying to get down necessary and sufficient assumptions. I know that that's like a big part of the test, obviously. And just like, I really think this time around, I have such a better understanding of them in general, just conditional statements. But for the questions themselves, you sent out an email that you said like a big mistake that people make is they confuse them. And I do understand that necessary is just like, it could be anything that's like completely integral, and then sufficient has to make the argument logically flow. But like, is there like a way that you think of them that really like makes them stick out as different regarding the answer choices?
Yeah, so I think of necessary assumption questions as being a very specific kind of must be true question, where they're not really asking for new information. They're asking instead for something that is already implicit in the argument itself, meaning that a person who is committed to the argument would also be committed to all underlying necessary assumptions. So you want to gravitate towards more moderate language for that reason, because it's more likely to be provable based upon the stimulus. Sufficient assumptions, on the other hand, are opening the door to new information. Doesn't matter how extreme those are, as long as they get the job done of guaranteeing the argument.
Right.
And you tell the difference based on the key verb or phrase in the question stem, that it's either synonymous with necessity or sufficiency.
Yeah. I think I got the question stems down pretty good. Just sometimes it is like I have to be like, okay, no, wait, actually that has to be like, it's sufficient, so it has to like bring it together, the entire argument. But yeah, that's really, I mean, we're at 12:20, so I don't know if you have to go, but thank you so much.
Of course, Alyssa, it's been my pleasure. What would you say is the biggest insight you got from our call today?
I would probably say about the timing, because like I said, that was like my biggest thing. And now I'm really not even gonna try and do the technique of seeing what's easiest, because I have been trying to do that. And also really, it makes me realize I have to not have questions sink my time and just move on. I have to focus on that in real time. And I'm also gonna do the 5-sectioned exam.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, please keep in touch. Let me know how it goes, but also let me know if you need anything at all in the meantime.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.